Hey guys, Manic Mercurian here, and in this video we are doing another birth chart reading, and I'm still doing birth chart readings for donation slash for free. So if you are interested, definitely I just need the birth date, time, and place for you, and you can either leave a comment on one of my videos or email me at manic.mercurian@gmail.com, and I would be happy to post a reading like this for you, or I can also do them privately if you don't want these types of things posted publicly. I generally don't share any like name or personal details other than just the birth date, time, and place when I do these. But yeah, so definitely just let me know. I also do other types of readings as well. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this birth chart reading. So this is for May 27th, 1999 at 11:38 a.m. in Duarte, California. And this person has Sun in Gemini, Moon in Scorpio, which is funny because I actually just covered that Sun Moon combination really recently. Just a few days ago, it posted. So you could check that out as well if you want more information just on the Sun Moon combination here. But this person's Sun in Gemini, Moon in Scorpio, Leo rising. And let's see where to start, where to begin. I actually want to begin with the South node, which is a little bit different, but I noticed you have your North node in 12th house Leo and your South node is in 6th house Aquarius. And so this suggests to me that from a young age, you were very precocious. Like you were very mature for your age. Like, I don't know, you were like the good kid, sort of. You do have Scorpio Moon, which could be a little bit more kind of uncontrollable or unpredictable, especially as a child. But that South node in 6th house Aquarius, it makes you almost like, what's the word? There's a word for this. It makes you almost like the gifted child, or dang, there's a word for this. It makes you like this child that's just mature and who's not. I don't see you as being super childlike as a child, if that makes sense. Like it's like you were already kind of mature and grown up and able to, it's almost like you were kind of detached. It's almost so you're able to kind of detach from your emotions as a child and sort of learn and be observant. And I think starting from this point and as you mature, you're always kind of good at, I don't know, taking care of what needs to be done, if that makes sense. You do have IC in Scorpio, which suggests to me sort of a maybe tumultuous childhood, or a childhood where there was a lot of change, a lot of dramatic change maybe. You may have felt like you were always kind of in this like disaster situation, which kind of kept you on your toes, where you felt like you had to be alert. But the good part of this is that it makes for a person who is very prone toward evolution. So like hopefully that makes sense and it's not too abstract, but you seem like someone from a very young age who is very much wanting to learn and evolve and grow. And it's sort of in response to this climate of disaster or emotional turmoil. Hopefully that makes sense. But I see your mother's being very supportive to you. I mean, you have Moon close to the IC, and it's in a water sign in Scorpio. It is in detriment, so that does indicate a challenging childhood. Not everyone with Scorpio Moon has a challenging childhood, but it is sort of one indication for it. Or just, I don't know, you may have grown up with situations where you felt like you weren't in control of yourself or your surroundings weren't in control. Um, so yeah, again, that just kind of um, it 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 sort of provokes you to be more alert and more I don't know, more cunning or more constructive. Like you're always trying to. It makes you like a harder worker, sort of. It makes you ambitious. And with Scorpio Moon, I do see you as being kind of ambitious, very guarded with your emotions. I see you as being, I don't know, very private with a lot of things. You do have Sun in Gemini, and so you have this kind of friendly exterior where you want to get along, have many different friends. Your Sun is in this very nice place in the 10th house. So I see your father as being very present in your childhood as well. You do have Saturn direct, and it's in Taurus, an Earth sign, and it's very close to your midheaven. And then you have Sun very close to midheaven as well in the 10th house. So I do see your father as being very present in your life as a child. So both your mother and your father, I think they were very different people. They were very like they did not have much in common, but I see them both as being kind of present in your life and both being supportive. Hopefully that's accurate. But yeah, you did receive sort of a maternal influence and a paternal influence as well, which is kind of nice. So you do um like structure and discipline aren't unfamiliar to you, if that makes sense. You're definitely able to be you're definitely able to act according to the laws of like not society necessarily, but like you know what's expected of you and you delivered to that, if that makes sense. In general, I see you as being like a very respectable individual because you have Leo rising, Scorpio moon, you have Saturn pretty prominent and Sun at the top of the chart. So it's almost like you're very aware of your reputation and of what's expected from you, and you want to deliver. You kind of take yourself a little bit seriously, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a good thing because it means a lot to you. You want to bring your best to the day, to work or school or whatever, to the public or online even. You want to make a good impression. That's very important to you. um, Scorpio moon, Gemini sun, and Leo rising all really want to make a good impression on other people. So yeah, you do. I don't know. You are kind of I don't know, just wanting to make a good impression. I'm kind of repeating myself, but with Leo rising and Gemini moon, I think you really want to have fun, and I think you could get a little bit carried away at times with your Scorpio moon because you might crave some really like intensity in your life, and you might feel really deeply, and you might become very emotional at times. And so, really, I think you have good intentions. You're just wanting to have fun and have a good time, but I think you can also get carried away and just go too deep. You can jump off the deep end and just go really crazy with I don't know overindulging. Scorpio moon can do this, and Leo rising can do this as well, where you just want to have a really good time and you don't want to let go of that fun time, and that can get you into trouble. But there is that other side of your personality that knows how to be kind of detached and mature, and so there's kind of two different sides there. There's the side that's very precocious and mature and almost scholarly and wants to like learn and be, I don't know, very disciplined. And then there's this other part of your personality that is very almost reckless and just wants to have fun and goof off. So I don't know, there's this like yin and yang there. But if you can kind of balance those, then that can be really nice, where you can still have fun and be a little bit of a party animal, but also be, mature isn't the right word, but disciplined to some extent, I guess you could say. Hopefully that makes sense. With Pluto in your fourth house Sagittarius, I don't know, I could see you as like moving very far away multiple times in your life and very dramatically, very suddenly. Let's see here. What else? Okay, let's look at the inner planets some more. So they're actually pretty scattered for you. So you have Sun and Mercury pretty much, yeah, conjunct with 2-degree orb in Gemini. So Mercury being in domicile in Gemini and conjunct your Sun means that you're always thinking. You're thinking a lot, especially with Scorpio moon too. So you're always observing and analyzing, observing other people. I think you're definitely like a people watcher. And I don't know, you're always thinking, and I don't know, I think it'd be hard to get into your head, especially as like another person, because I almost see you as being, I don't think shy is the right word, but very private, if that makes sense. But I think like if like deep under those kind of shells or those walls that you have, there's a lot going on inside of you. I think there's a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. You're definitely a thinker and a feeler. You feel very deeply, you're very emotional, but you also think a lot too. You're analytical, imaginative, you're thinking a lot. There's a lot going on. So you have a really rich like inner world, a really rich imagination, and a really rich dream world. I would almost think you could be like a good writer, or maybe something to do with writing lyrics or writing, maybe speaking, especially with Leo rising. That's kind of a charismatic placement. And with Sun and Saturn at the top of your chart, you could be seen as someone very respectable. I think you have really good leadership potential, especially as you get a little bit older here. So I don't know. I think I could see you as being a really good speaker. You could speak with conviction and with some charisma and be almost like a an authoritative figure. Um, let's see here. But also, yeah, you could also be very creative, good writer. Maybe I don't know, do something creative, something musical. Maybe I'm not sure. Just something that where you could use that vivid imagination and those deep feelings and deep thoughts. Something where you could use all of that. Let's see here. But then you've also got Venus in Cancer in the 11th house, and then Mars in Libra. So you have Mars in detriment, and so you avoid confrontation. Your moon is in Scorpio, so I think if people really push you and they cross a line, you can kind of snap, and like then you're definitely capable of defending yourself. But just in general with Mars and Libra, you avoid confrontation. I don't see you as being an instigator. You're not out, trying to provoke people or trying to fight with people. And actually, Mars and Libra it's in detriment, and so it can be maybe hard for you sometimes to speak up for yourself or to defend yourself or to be. Like we all need to be aggressive to some extent, when it's appropriate at certain times in our lives, or to have to use that kind of fighting spirit we have. And so you might actually have trouble with that, especially at a younger age. You might have a trouble asserting yourself. You also have Mars retrograde, so yeah, all that energy is kind of internalized. And so when you're in a confrontative situation, it's a strength and a weakness. So the weakness is that you don't act right away. There are times um, where you might need to react like immediately, instinctively, and you just don't have that instinct. You take time to react, but that's also a strength because rather than immediately reacting and maybe panicking or something, you stay calm and cool and collected, and so you're able to continue thinking rationally even in a really stressful situation. So that can be really good. People may not understand it. People may think that you're oblivious to what's going on, or they may think you don't care. But it's not that you don't care or that you're unaware. It's just that you're able to think pretty critically, even in extremely stressful or volatile situations. So that can be really, really good. It can allow you to strategize during stressful times. Let's see. Okay, and then Venus in 11th house Cancer means that you are a little bit clingy. Uh, you, okay, and then also applying Venus in Cancer with Mars and Libra, I could see you as you could be taken advantage of in a relationship. I think you could also unintentionally take advantage of someone else because Mars and Libra with Venus and Cancer, they're combining them together. It's sort of a codependent dynamic. So um, let's see here. So for you with a relationship, Venus and Cancer is almost like a mother dynamic. So with Cancer placements, you either take on the role of the child or the baby or the mother, and sometimes you can actually take on both. And so for you, since you have Venus in Cancer, you in a relationship, you can almost be like very motherly, if that makes sense. I don't. That's not the right word. You can almost be very nurturing is a better word. You can also almost be very like nurturing and very soft and caring for another person, but you might also kind of take on the role of a child and want to be nurtured or be a little bit codependent where you can kind of soak up that like energy, if that makes sense. And again, you can be kind of both at the same time, so very nurturing but also very much wanting to be nurtured in return. So it's a very soft and kind of sensitive placement, to be honest. It's very emotional again. You do have Moon in Scorpio and Venus in Cancer, so I think especially in relationships, when you connect with someone romantically, you would connect very deeply, and you would want to be very nurturing, but also very much nurtured by that person. And then speaking about relationships, so you do have Descendant in Aquarius, and so let's see. So you would actually be attracted to people with air in their charts, maybe Aquarius suns in particular, or people with other Aquarius placements. You do have a little bit of that fiery spark with your Leo rising, where you initiate things. You're definitely more of the initiator, especially with someone that you're interested in. You would kind of take the first move. Like that doesn't. It's not very difficult for you. You can kind of initiate and yeah, you don't mind taking on that role and you might actually enjoy it. Let's see. So yeah, you're kind of a leader, including in relationships, and yeah, so you'd be attracted to people who are kind of detached and quirky. You want someone different. You want someone very much unique. You want someone who's a little bit like weird or different or obscure. Someone who's not doing what the rest of the crowd is doing. Someone who is an individual thinker who has their own ideas, or I don't know, someone who has some like weird opinions or weird attributes about them, a weird appearance, weird, I don't know, something obscure and unique, something counterculture. That's kind of what attracts you. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, that's what attracts you. But then you also want, I think, someone with a little bit of water would be good in their chart as well, because you do have Lilith in Scorpio, you have IC in Scorpio, you have Moon in Scorpio, and then you've got Venus in Cancer. So you really need someone with air in their chart in a long-term situation. That would also work with your Sun, Mercury, and Mars being in air signs as well. But then I do think you want someone a little bit emotional too. You don't want someone who's just dry and airy and not who you also want someone who experiences deep emotions like you do. And that kind of works very well because in general your chart is very airy and watery. So air is very intellectual and analytical and detached. And then water is very emotional and sensitive. It's very deep. And so you're sort of both. And that's what makes you have such a rich inner world, because you're very thoughtful, analytical, but also very emotional. And so I think you would be attracted to someone else who has that type of quality as well. Someone who's also airy and watery like you are. Someone else who feels very deeply and has a rich imagination like you do as well. Okay, what else here? So let's kind of jump around. So we talked about relationships a lot. Let's talk about Saturn and the midheaven at the top of your chart in Taurus. So Saturn being in Taurus and being close to the top of the chart, I think you might have, let's see, you might be resistant to um making, I don't know. Okay, let me think about this first. Um I don't know. I see on one aspect I see you as kind of always instigating and always kind of leading, even when you don't mean to. You always take on the natural role of the leader because you are Leo rising. But on the other hand, I think especially at an early age, you might be hesitant to really take on a leadership role or to take on responsibility. I think that's the difference. You do want to be a leader, but it might be hard for you to take on that responsibility or that authority, especially in a public sphere early on in life. And that's something that you'll grow into. I think as you mature a little bit, you'll learn to take on that responsibility and you could be a really good leader. I see multiple things in your chart for that. So let's see here. But yeah, you might have challenging situations at a young age. And this can go all the way up to 30 to, so I mean, because once you turn 30 and you experience your Saturn return, or 28, 29, 30. Once Saturn goes back to your Saturn sign of Taurus, then you'll mature a lot in this area, and I think you'll be able to take on more responsibility and step into more of a leadership role in your career or in the public. But also, you might have trouble with finances or with your resources at a young age with Saturn in Taurus. So you might have trouble feeling secure, feeling like you have what you need or that you can take care of yourself at a young age, which is sort of common. That's not a big deal, but you might experience some extra hard difficulties there with just, I don't know, with I don't want to say with making money, because I see you as being kind of ambitious, and with South Node in sixth house, I see you as being someone who could be a hard worker and who isn't afraid to get out there and do something, with your life. But at the same time, with Saturn and Taurus, you might be challenged with money or with resources, with anything that supports you or makes you feel supported in life. So this is just something that will be challenging at a young age, but that you'll step into as you mature, especially after 30. And once you kind of get past these earlier phases and past these challenges, and you mature and you grow more in this area, then you'll actually be extra good in this area, if that makes sense. That's kind of how Saturn works. So once you get into these kind of later phases in life, starting in your 30s, you'll be that much better at taking on an authoritative role or taking on that responsibility, and you'll be that much better at making money as well. So it's just something that starts out challenging, but that you have to work through in order to become really good at. And then that's where you kind of shine, and the work shows, it pays off, and it shows once you get into those later stages. Okay, and then you do have Jupiter and Aries, and so um, I see you as being kind of, I don't know, it's interesting because I see you as being very confident, but also kind of internal. I don't want to say shy. I don't think that's the right word, but I see you as being kind of private with your emotions, very internal, like having lots of walls. But at the same time, I could see you as being kind of cocky or being very confident in yourself with, Leo rising and then Sun at the top of your chart, Jupiter and Aries. I do think you're a little bit cocky, a little bit confident, and can be kind of a daredevil at times. So that's nice. I mean, that confidence is good to have. And yeah, I think you can experience extremes of both at a young age. So you can be too cocky, too confident, too reckless, but you can also be overly guarded or too private with your emotions at the same time. So I think as you mature, you'll be able to be, definitely confident. Like that's definitely a good thing that you definitely want to keep, of course, but like you want to be confident but not cocky. So confident, but if you could just get a little bit more humble at the same time, but then also keep your confidence. And then I think you'll also learn to open up a little bit and be a little bit less guarded with your kind of emotions and your inner world. You can kind of learn to open up just a little bit and just to share some of that. And again, you don't have to completely open up. It's not that you have to completely change yourself. You can still keep those natural tendencies, but I just I see you as becoming a little bit more easygoing as you mature. Let's see what else here. 12th house in Leo Sagittarius. I mean Leo Sagittarius and North Node in 12th house Leo is what I was trying to say. So yeah, so I really see you as you need to be a leader. Maybe not right away, but I think as you get a little bit older. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could be a manager or take on, or maybe like a business owner. I see you as taking on some kind of responsibility and being a leader as you mature. I really think that would be something that would be good for you because I see you as being smart. I see you as thinking a lot and being confident and being having charisma, being able to speak with conviction. I think people could look up to you. So yeah, that's cool. You do have a lot to kind of integrate at a young age, but once you become more self aware and more stable, then I think you'd be a really good leader. Let's see. Okay, Midheaven and Taurus. So you could almost do something with managing money, or I don't know, managing. I see you as managing something, or I don't know, Taurus. Maybe something food related, culinary arts, managing money. I'm not sure exactly. Really, there's a lot that you could be good at because, again, you're emotional, you're creative, you're thoughtful, um, you're a good leader. So, I mean, I almost don't even want to say which kind of career fields you could do because you could almost apply that to anything, really. Um, yeah, I mean, it could be writing or musical, artistic, but it could also be managing money, like investing. I mean, there's really a lot of different applications. Let's see here. What else? I think I've covered a lot already. Yeah, I've been kind of rambling, but I think I've covered most of the chart. Let me just make sure there's nothing else I want to cover here. Um, okay. Yeah, I see you as being very sexual as well with Moon and Scorpio, Leo rising, Lilith and Scorpio, and I see you as having kind of a tendency to like you could have a little bit of escapism. But at the same time, you do have South Node in sixth house Aquarius. So again, there's like these two different sides of you. There's this one side that's very grounded and very much um, realistic and almost painfully realistic. That you're almost like a I don't know, like a realist, I guess. But then there's this other part of you that is kind of an escapist and wants to be like a daredevil or just an extremist to just do something extreme where you can kind of forget about reality. And so you may have phases of both where you kind of oscillate between one and the other. And I think as you mature, I don't know why I'm talking so much about you maturing, but I think that's a task or a challenge that you have is combining both of those. Um, you may always have this really vivid imagination, and you may also always be very grounded, but you can combine both of those. And I think there's a lot of strength in that, in managing and maintaining that level of dynamism and contrast within yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see here. Okay, and I see you as having some really beautiful relationship or potential for a beautiful relationship in your life because you do have Venus in 11th house. And that also suggests to me that you are well received by others. People, um, I don't know. It's mixed because I see you as maybe getting into trouble at times, especially early on, because of you can be very emotional, very reckless. But at the same time, you have a charisma about you, and I think you're generally well received by others. And so yeah, you do have that charisma. Okay, let's just talk about something more basic here. So let's just talk about Sun and Gemini with Moon and Scorpio. This to me suggests someone who's very intelligent. You're always thinking, and you're always wanting to predict things. Maybe not literally, but you're always kind of thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead, especially socially. I think you're very interested in people. Like you're almost like an amateur psychologist because you're always wanting to study human nature and figure out how people work. And this comes from kind of 2 reasons. For one, you're just very curious. You're curious about many different things. You're probably very knowledgeable about many different things, kind of like a typical Gemini would be. But on the Scorpio side, you're also very sensitive and very vulnerable, and so figuring people out and figuring out information kind of helps you to feel in control of yourself because you have such strong emotions that you do feel out of control at times, and so yeah, that's where learning about things and figuring out people and that's where all that can make you feel more in control. And you can do that for yourself as well. I think you can kind of turn that inward and analyze yourself to become extremely self aware. I mean, really, it's hard to say. I mean, you have such a vivid inner world. You can kind of point that whichever direction you like to gain a lot of information about, I don't know, about yourself or other people or what have you. Um, Hopefully that makes sense. That's honestly pretty much what I see for you. So let's see. Let me just make sure because I feel like that was so quick, but I think I covered kind of everything. Okay. Okay. Something kind of. I'm not sure if I should say this, but Lilith, conjunct the IC and Scorpio. I see almost maybe something like sexual happening at a young age, or it may have not been sexual. It may have been. I don't know. Something dark though. I hope that's okay for me to say, but I almost see something dark happening at a young age. I almost think it would be a singular event or maybe just a couple isolated events. I don't think it would apply to your entire childhood. Um, I don't know, something either sexual or some kind of crisis. That's such a dark note to leave off on. But just in general, I see you as being a really intelligent person, really deep person, someone who's guarded but also spontaneous and someone who maybe gets into trouble at times but is also very charismatic and well received by others. I see you as being very guarded, but once you do connect with someone, you can be a little bit clingy. You want to be really close to people once you do have a connection with others. So yeah, it's an interesting chart. Let me know what resonated or what didn't. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And again, if anyone else wants a reading or has any other requests, definitely leave a comment or email me at manic.mercurian@gmail.com. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.